Have you ever asked someone their name and then got introduced to a business, which is a multi-million company? I asked him his name because silence makes me uncomfortable. We were standing in the same coffee line, both pretending not to look at the prices, both scrolling our phones like we had somewhere important to be. He wore a plain black shirt, old sneakers. Nothing that screamed success. Nothing that said this conversation would change the way I see people forever. I said, "Hey man, what's your name?" He smiled like I'd asked him something funny and said, "Daniel." Simple, ordinary. So I nodded and said mine. And that should have been the end of it. But small talk has a way of opening doors you didn't know existed. I asked what he does, expecting something safe like marketing or freelance or the classic, "I'm still figuring it out." He paused for a second. Not like he was thinking hard, but like he was deciding how honest to be. Then he said, "I run a company." I said, "Oh, nice." The same way you say it to everyone already mentally moving on. Then he added, "We're about 8 years in now. Around 400 employees." I laughed because I thought he was joking. He didn't laugh back. He just took a sip of his coffee and said, "Started in my apartment. One laptop. No investors." That's when the air shifted. Suddenly the noise of the cafe faded and my brain started doing math it wasn't ready for. I asked what the company does, and he explained it so simply it almost sounded boring. Logistics, systems, fixing, inefficiencies people complain about but never solve. He talked about mistakes, lawsuits, months where payroll barely went through, nights sleeping on the office floor, and I realized something uncomfortable. He wasn't trying to impress me. He wasn't pitching. He wasn't flexing. He was just answering a question I asked without knowing the weight of it. Before we left, I finally asked the question I should have asked earlier. "So, how big is the company now?" He shrugged and said, "Last year we crossed 8 figures." Then he smiled again, the same way he did when I asked his name, and said, "Anyway, nice meeting you." I walked out with my coffee cold, realizing how many times I've judged a book by its cover, how many Daniels I've walked past because they didn't look like success, and how one simple question can introduce you to a whole world you didn't even know was standing next to you.